Hey, what's up race fans? It's Nicole, and I feel like I look really tough today in my nice cool leather jacket, so yeah. Hey, what's up race fans? I'm Nicole and welcome back to my channel. This week NASCAR took us to Texas Motor Speedway for the second race of the Eliminator round. And once again, the driver who won the race was not even part of our Eliminator race. So if y'all are ready, let's go ahead and get started. As I just mentioned, it was actually Jimmie Johnson who took home the checkered flag this weekend at Texas. Once again, our 8 drivers, their positions on the grid are determined by points. Once again, Joey Logano is sitting at the top of the grid this week. He had a solid run at Texas. And his teammate Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick are sitting at the bottom this week, meaning that they need to get a win at Phoenix to move on. Now let's get into what we really all want to talk about this week, the post-race fight. So here's how it all went down. On the first green-white checkered restart attempt, Brad Keselowski in the number 2 got into the back of Jeff Gordon's 24 and he cut the right tire. This caused Jeff Gordon to spin out. Then on the final green-white checkered attempt, Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick got a really tough battle for the second position. Ultimately, Harvick finished in that second position. These feuds carried over to pit lane where it all went down. So when all the drivers came down on pit road after the race, Jeff Gordon stopped right beside Keselowski's car to give him a few words after the race. He went over to talk to him, while Kevin Harvick, on the other hand, came up and shoved Brad Keselowski, and that was the trigger, and man, it was just a fight broke out between many teams and crew members on pit road. Now, as many of you may know, Tuesday is the day where NASCAR they look over all the film and all the actions that happened during the race, and they determine how to penalize or not penalize drivers, crew chiefs, and teams. Now, NASCAR had a couple different ways to look at this. Brad Keselowski's side, he thought he was just running really hard for a championship. Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon thought that Brad Keselowski was kind of taking it a little step too further, and instead of just driving hard to win a championship, he was taking it a step further and kind of recklessly driving on the track. But NASCAR also had to consider that most of the fight took place between crew members, so they had to determine how to penalize them as well. So here's what they came up with. NASCAR made the decision not to penalize any of the drivers, which involved Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, and Jeff Gordon. However, NASCAR did make the decision to penalize Alan Gustafson, crew chief of the number 24, and Kenny Francis, crew chief of the number 5. Each crew chief will be penalized $50,000 and will be put on probation for the next Sprint Cup races. Now, as I told you, that most of the fight took place between crew members instead of the drivers themselves. Although they were involved, NASCAR determined to penalize some of the crew members as well. Jerry Fuller, the rear tire changer for the number 5 car, and Dave Dossett and Jason Eigel, who are crew members of the 24 team. Each of these individuals will be fined $25,000 and will be put on probation for the next 6 Sprint Cup races. Dean Marzingo, who is also a member of the 24 team, will be penalized $10,000 and will be put on probation for only 3 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races. As a result of the fight on pit road, team owners Rick Hendrick and Roger Penske have decided to stand behind the drivers 100%. In response to the actions that took place on pit road that night, Rick Hendrick responded with the following quote. With NASCAR's new chase format, we're seeing an unpredictable level of intensity each week. Emotions run high, and when you're racing for a championship, that's exciting for our fans and everyone else involved in the sport. But there's a line the competitors need to be cognizant of, and we understand that. Jeff Gordon was rightfully fired up Sunday night, and it just reiterated to me how passionate he is and how much he wants to win. The number 24 team is a group that works together and is loyal to one another. They have our full support and as we go into these final 2 races. Following Sunday's event, all the drivers have put it behind them and now they are focused 100% towards Phoenix, the final race of the Eliminator round. Following this race, 4 drivers will be eliminated and there will only be 4 drivers left who will be competing for the championship at Homestead, Miami. The stakes are high and these drivers need to be making those top 5, top 10 finishes to move on. But here's where they really need to finish. The drivers in the top 2 positions, Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, need to finish or 11th or better to move on. Ryan Newman, who is currently 3rd in points, needs a finish of 9th or better. And the remaining 5 drivers, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, and even Kevin Harvick need at least a top finish and mostly even a win to move on to the next round. I think this week at Phoenix is going to be just like that weekend at Talladega, where stakes are high and drivers are going to be doing everything they can to get that win. Make sure y'all tune in to the Quickens Loan Race for Heroes 500 at Phoenix International Raceway at ESPN at 3 o'clock, and I'll see y'all after Phoenix.